Okay, so our agenda will be, we have a 7-point agenda where the first is introduction to 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 certification, 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 old versus new framework overview, domain by domain comparison, old versus new. So where we'll go through multiple slides and where I will explain you, give you a review, what is the difference in the domain in the current version and what was it in the old version. What are the updated knowledge areas and skill sets? What should be your approach towards exam preparation if you talk about old versus new syllabus? What is the industrial and career impact of the new edition? And the final, a special time slot is given for a Q&A sessions where you'll get a chance to ask questions. Okay, to start with, let us go through introduction to 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 certification. Okay, so now 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 is a globally recognized certification, for professional, those who identify and, mainly they manage enterprise IT risk. Okay, I repeat, enterprise IT risk, and where they are responsible for implementing effective information systems control. The very good thing about 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 certification is, so its main focus is, it's the only certification that's main focus is on the intersection of, it talks about IT risk management, control design, business resilience. Resilience is something, the ability to withstand disaster. Okay, which makes it really valuable in industries like healthcare and finance. However, it is not limited to only healthcare and finance. You can apply it anywhere. Okay. Now the exam, okay, it has in all 150 questions. Okay, 150 questions. Now, if we see the domains, you have 4 domains and the weights. Domain 1, governance, weight is 26% out of total 150 questions. Domain 2, risk assessment, 22%. Domain 3, risk response and reporting, 32%. This is the domain which has highest weightage. Domain 4, technology and security, which has a weightage of 20%. Fine. Now, in the next slide, we are going to see a 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 old versus a new framework, that is 2021 versus 2025. What is the difference? Okay. Now, if you see domain 1 in 2021, the weightage was 26%. No change in the new syllabus. The weightage remains the same. Domain 2, IT risk assessment, 20% in 2021 and 25. It has increased by only 2%. Domain 3, risk response and reporting, no change, 32%. Domain 4, information technology and security, 22% before, and it has been reduced by 2%. Okay, now let's have a quick, highlight by each domain, what exactly, change is. So if you see domain 1, stable, no change. Domain 2, IT risk assessment, the weightage has been increased by 22%. So the greater focus is on proactive risk identification. Domain 3, if you see the weightage, there is no change, stable, okay, but still the most weighted. It has the maximum number of questions will come from domain 3. Domain 4, information technology and security, there is a reduction of 2%. So they have slightly reduced the emphasis, on the earlier topics. So this was a quick overview of 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐶 old versus new. In the next slide, what we are going to see is, I would like to request your attention. We are going to see domain by domain comparison, old versus new. Let's start. Now, if you see, there are 2 columns, 7th edition and the new version, which is 8th edition. Let's go by each domain. In the previous version, the section 1.1 organizational strategy, goals and objectives. Okay, it is has been updated and expanded. Bit more discussion has been added, and it is renamed as the section number remains the same: strategy, goals and objectives. Okay. In the earlier version, section 1.3 organization culture and section 1.12 professional ethics of risk management, they have been combined into one section, which is 1.3 organizational culture and ethics. Section 1.5 business process review, 2.8.1 business continuity and organizational resiliency, 4.4 enterprise resiliency. Now they have been combined into one section, which is section 1.5 business process review and resilience. Let's continue. We are with the domain 1 governance. We are now still with the changes in domain 1 governance, the structure. There is one concept called as 3 lines of defense. Okay, it's a risk management framework that defines the clear roles and responsibilities of each function. Now, in the earlier version, 7th edition, this was named as 3 lines of defense, section 1.8. Okay, now here they have more emphasis on the term function rather than number, and also it has been renamed as lines of defense instead of 3 lines of defense. Okay. 1.9 a risk profile. Okay. Now, if you see, the section number remains the same, 1.9 a risk profile. These subsections are added, like from 1.9.1 to 1.9.11. New technology, changes to business processes, mergers and acquisitions, new or revised regulations, and so on. So these are the new subsections added under the main section 1.9, a risk profile. We'll continue with domain 1, 7th edition, section 1.11, legal, regulatory and contractual requirements. It has been renamed, the section number remains the same, as risk frameworks, legal, regulatory and contractual requirements. So new subsection has been added, which is 1.11.1, COVID and information risk. This was all about domain 1 governance. Now, domain 2 risk assessment, the weightage is 22%. Section 2.2.5 threat, misuse and abuse case modeling. Okay, figure 2.8. Now, this we are all talking about CRISC manual. Okay, ISA CRISC manual, ISACA CRM. So 2.2.5. Okay, the change here is there has been figure 2.9. It has been updated with additional threat modeling methods. Section 2.3.1 sources of vulnerabilities. Okay, under this, new subsection has been added. Okay, and it talks about large language models and artificial intelligence and quantum computing, which was not there before. We'll continue with domain 2 risk assessment. Okay. This section 2.4 risk scenario development, it has been renamed as 2.4 risk scenario development and evaluation. Okay. Section 2.5 risk assessment concept, standards and framework, it has been renamed as risk assessment concepts and standards. Okay. Business impact analysis, section 2.8 in the previous version. In the 8th edition, business impact analysis. Okay, the continuity part has been moved to domain 1. 2.6 risk registered. Okay, one more example has been added under this, a second example in the CRISC manual for risk register, and you see the section number has been changed to 2.7. So under that 7, the risk analysis methodology, Okay. Now the section is 2.8, risk analysis methodologies. This was all about domain 2. Domain 3, risk response and reporting. Team, this is the major chunk of C-risk. 32% out of total C-risk syllabus. Okay. Here 3.2 in the 7th edition, it was a risk treatment or a risk response options. Here they have clearly stated a risk response option. Risk and control ownership, no change, only the section number has changed. 3.2. 3.3 in the earlier version, third party risk management. Here they have renamed as a vendor supply chain risk management. They have added context on some more parties, 4th, 5th, and so on. Again, domain 3, risk response and reporting. 3.7, control design selection analysis. 3.8, it was control implementation. Now it has been combined into 3.6, control design selection implementation and analysis. Section 3.9, control testing and effectiveness evaluation. Section number now is 3.7, control testing methodologies. 3.10, in earlier version, it was a risk treatment. Now section 3.8 is risk action plans. 3.11, data collection aggregation analysis. It is now 3.9. Section 3.14, KPIs or key performance indicators. Section 3.15, key risk indicators or KRI. 3.16, key control indicators. Now it has been combined into 3.10 and renamed as risk and control metrics. 3.12, risk and control monitoring techniques. Now it's 3.11, risk and control monitoring techniques. Okay. 3.13, now it is 3.12, risk and control reporting techniques. Okay. Domain 3, 3.5, management of emerging risk. New subsection 3.13, it is an added and it talks specifically on artificial intelligence and emerging risk. This was all about up to here, domain 3, risk response and reporting. Now the final domain, which is domain 4, technology and security. Earlier, the section name was 4.1, enterprise architecture or EA. Now it has been renamed to technology roadmaps and enterprise architecture. 4.2, IT operations management. New subsection has been added on zero trust architecture. Okay. 4.6, system development lifecycle. Now it is 4.3. Earlier, data lifecycle management, it was 4.5. Now it is 4.4. Earlier, 7th edition, 4.3, project management. Now it has been renamed as the section number 4.5, portfolio and project management. Okay. Continuing with domain 4, technology and security. Earlier 4.4, enterprise resiliency. Now it has been renamed as technology resilience and disaster response recovery. 4.7, emerging technologies. So they have added something more in specific about artificial intelligence discussion, including non-technical risk, example, ethics and human rights. 4.9, information security awareness training. It has been renamed as security or risk awareness and training. So this was all about a comparison domain by domain in the 7th edition, now an 8th edition for all 4 domains. Okay. So in the next slide, we are going to see, we are going to talk about updated knowledge area and skill sets. Okay. Now, this a new syllabus, okay, it reflects more on modern cybersecurity frameworks, example NIST, CSF, ISO 3100, and regulatory shifts, which example GDPR and SOX. Now, when you talk about skill set enhancements, so greater focus is given on data-driven risk decisions, control automation, and cross-functional collaboration. Now let's talk about what are exam preparation changes. So new materials were launched in September 2025. Okay. About old preparation tools, that is question and answers database. I'm talking about ISACA ebooks. Okay. They are still accessible, but they won't be reflecting the updated content after November 3, 2025. What is the industry impact? It is, the current syllabus, it aligns better with current enterprise risk management trends, and more in specific in cloud, AI, and digital transformation contexts. Now in the next slide, we are going to see about exam preparation, old versus new approach. Okay, we'll talk in terms of first about official resources. Okay, in 7th edition, we have CRISC manual. Okay, and a 6th edition question and answers database. So in the old approach, the CRISC manual version was 7th edition and 6th edition of Q&E, question and answer database. So in the new, it is 8th edition and 7th edition of question and answers database. Now focus of study in the old approach, okay, focused mainly on domains as they were structured in earlier syllabus. In the new approach, candidates really require to study the updated domains, and there is an increased focus on governance and risk assessment. Let me take one more minute here. Governance, is there in almost every ISACA certification. You talk about CISA, which is Certified Information System Auditor, Certified Information Security Manager, CRISC. In all the certification, the first topic is governance. Okay, even there is a separate ISACA certification, 𝐒𝐞𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧, which is only dedicated to governance. Now, when we talk about exam content, okay, so the old approach, it reflects, earlier job practices, and in the new approach, this has been updated to current risk practitioner practices. So this was a quick overview about old and a new approach. Fine. Now, in the next slide, we are going to talk about industry and career impact of the new edition. So what is the industry impact? Alignment with modern risk frameworks, sharper domain focus. Each domain has been modified, which in some cases focus is more on frameworks, artificial intelligence, more figures have been added, and it talks about across industry applicability. Okay. Now, if we talk about career impact, okay, yes, CRISC has a higher salary potential. Okay, the roles are expanded. You have more influence. Okay, it's a strategic, career differentiator. Okay, if you see for a long term, it's a really good certification. Okay, and if you are into risk or you are into GRC but you don't have any certification, this is a very good certification to proof of your expertise in CRISC. Friends, I have added one more slide from my side other than the agenda that I'm sure that will benefit you all. Okay, so it talks about our training approach to a CRISC course. Okay, in InfoSec training, the sessions are highly interactive. It's not about trainer just speaks about each slide. Okay, the sessions are interactive. If you notice, I have deliberately written in a red font and highlighted in yellow. Friends, CRISC is extremely conceptual, highly conceptual. There is nothing called as memorization. Now, if I'm sure, definitely there are many participants in this session, those who are aware of very basic definitions of CRISC, like risk appetite, or risk tolerance, or risk capacity, threat, vulnerability. But you have to dig, in deep to understand the concepts behind that. Unless you understand the concepts, believe me, it's going to be difficult. CRISC is not difficult. Okay. You should focus more on conceptual understanding from each domain. Okay. And at InfoSec, we take during the training practice questions after the completion of each domain. Whereas a question is displayed and 4 options are given, and there is a discussion on which is the right option. Okay. The question format is, you have question and you have 4 options. Out of that, you have to select one best option. Now, it's not about you selecting the right answer. The discussion should also be there on why the other answers were wrong. Why this was the best, why this was not the best. Okay. So I repeat again, whoever is studying CRISC, he has been already studying, and who is planning to join the CRISC course, keep in your mind, the most important in CRISC is your conceptual understanding. There is nothing called as memorization in this course, any ISACA certification. Okay. Now, if you tell me what is the key to success towards passing CRISC exam, okay, my only answer is conceptual understanding is the key towards passing CRISC exam. There is nothing called as memorization. Believe me, there is nothing called as memorization. And also, let me add something here. Now, we saw 4 domains. Each domain has a specific weightage. That, and domain 3 has a weightage of 32%, which is the highest one. I mean, if you calculate the number of questions that will be going to ask from domain 3, it's around 48 questions. 48 questions. Okay, only for domain 3. But that doesn't mean that you should only focus on domain 3. No. When you start CRISC, starting from the domain 1, you should focus more on concepts for each and every single thing. If you are done with the concepts, believe me, you are almost, ready to appear for the mock test. It's a matter of practicing the questions. I repeat, conceptual understanding is the key to success towards passing CRISC exam.